Freaking college kids, what does the sign at the fence say? No entry. What does this say here? He pointed at the text sprayed across the main door. No freaking entry. You think we just put these up because we don't have anything better to do? Like you? You really have nothing else better to do but snoop around things that you have no business in? Now look what happened. Look what you did. What your awesome idea brought you, Morose yelled at me after I finished explaining what happened. First thing he did when he arrived was to check the service tunnel and make sure it's closed. He didn't even talk to me. He just ran there and made sure it was sealed and locked. He was an average-looking guy, probably in his mid-50s, but I think people would say that he looked older than he really was. "What is this place?" I asked. "You have no idea," he said, stood up and walked to his car. "What are you doing?" "I'm going to save your friend and you're coming with me." "You will do exactly as I say and nothing else. Stay quiet, try not to exhaust yourself. The air is not circulating and you'll burn all the oxygen and suffocate. You will stay tethered to me by this line." He lifted what looked like a small retractable winch. "When I turn off my flashlight, you will do the same immediately and won't move." He continued and pulled out a shotgun from the car's trunk. "Are these going to help?" I asked. "To an extent, but don't use it unless I tell you to," he said and handed me a pistol. "Last thing, do you know what ozone smells like?" he asked and I nodded. "Good. If you smell ozone, run." I started considering whether this was a good idea when he chained and locked the door from inside with a massive padlock. "This is the only way we can keep them from getting out," he said when he noticed me watching him. Hell, of course this was a bad idea, worst one I've ever had. So let me rephrase. I was contemplating whether I would ever see that padlock open ever again. "Am I not going to get a key?" I asked, watching him close it with a loud click. "Sorry, I have just one. But don't worry, I'm right here," he said, sliding his hand across the line we were connected through. The tether reeled back and forth between us as we walked through the service tunnel. It gave me some sense of security. I could be sure not to get lost and separated from the only other person nearby. It created a sort of weird rhythm with the diesel fuel that sloshed around in the large canisters we carried. Our first stop would be the generator room on the other side of the main entry hall. The generator rattled and hummed as it slowly started spinning up. "Did you see it?" Morose asked. "What?" "We have some time for talking until it turns on. Did you get a look at what took your friend when it happened?" "No," I answered. "What is this place?" I asked again. He stared into the air, sighed, and explained. It was originally a military stockpile in the 50s. In the late 70s, it was then repurposed into a research site. Anything that was too crazy for the public to know about, they've done it here. It was some screwed up stuff sometimes. Then they had this project about teleportation. They even rebuilt half of the facility to house it. And that's when it all went sour. "How do you know all this?" I asked. "I used to work here," he said. "So, what are all these things?" I asked. "They are..." he started, but then brushed it off. "I don't know. I was just an assistant." "Is there someone who knows?" "Not anymore. Everyone who knew, well, let's just say they never left this place." "And then how did you get out?" The engine clutch engaged with a click, and the generator finally came to life. "I didn't. I took a sick day when it happened." The lights turned on for a brief moment and then shut down again as a circuit breaker popped. "That's okay, we can spare the power for the lights. We'll need it someplace else. You'll see," Morose said. "Whatever happened here, whatever killed all the people down here, and God knows how it was all connected with the Chernobyl disaster, he wasn't here. He took a sick day. He took a freaking sick day. Come on, kid. Let's go." Like and subscribe for part 5.